It's time for Fire Field Vision, powered by NovaCare. Fred Hubner along with Paul Tenorio and Frank Lopez, Chicago Fire. After a 0-0 draw with Orlando City, they get ready to take on Atlanta. And earlier in the season, it did not go well down in Atlanta. A red card early in the contest, then a 4-0 loss. And as a guy that played in this league and also coached in this league, do players and coaches look at it and say, listen, they kicked our tail, let's use that as a way to get ready for this contest?
Listen, anytime you can use anything from a motivation standpoint, you do. But obviously you got to look at that game and say, the red card changed things early on. 50 minutes into the game, Carvajal gets sent off. You're playing a team at home. They're a dynamic team going forward. So, from one standpoint, you put that behind you. You don't forget. I think that, they're both different teams at the moment. And you look where the Fire team is right now, the additions they made and how well they're playing, and then you could be facing an Atlanta team that's going to be different with some players that are going to be out for them. So
absolutely, Frank. I think you nailed it. And also, if you're talking about the way the Fire are going to approach this game, that game against Atlanta, you almost throw entirely out the window as far as tactically goes, because the Fire didn't have the ball. They were down a man defending the entire time. And Atlanta held something like 70% possession or something like that. Atlanta's not a possession team. These are two transition teams. So you don't look at that game and say, this is how Atlanta is going to attack us, because they're not. And as you pointed out, Joseph Martinez was playing in that game. Miguel Almiron was playing in that game. I don't think either of those two players is going to be on the field. Almiron, obviously playing in a friendly against Peru on Thursday. They say he's going to join with the team. I'd be shocked if he goes anything more than 20 or 30 minutes, if he's there at all. Martinez has been training full with the team recently, coming back from that injury. But again, he hasn't played any minutes. So you take him out of the equation, it's a different team. And I think when you look at that lineup, they played the 4-2-3-1 with those guys in, Almiron playing underneath, Martinez playing up top, Villalba on a wing. I think this time maybe you look at Tito Villalba playing up top, Assad on the left side. Maybe you bring in a guy like Jacob Peterson on the right wing. Maybe you move Julian Gressel, the rookie, up into the number 10. All of a sudden, this team is much different. And I think they're going to look to get in behind with Assad and Villalba, their pace, to run in behind. This is a game of transition for me.
No, for sure. And then I think being at home, I think, Chicago's been a very good team, especially at home. So I think, the one thing is that they're so good in transition with the pace that the Fire do have. I think those are the areas where they can look to expose this team, and also out wide, because if you play, I think with, if you put Peterson out wide, I think he's more honest. He's going to track back and do the defensive work. But I think when he's not there, and the players, if that they've been playing out wide, if it's Assad or Villalba, if he's not playing on top, I think, the areas out wide, anytime you can switch that point of attack, and then, create overloads with movement, which the Fire have been extremely good at, I think the opportunities will be there, and through set pieces. They've given up, goals through set pieces. They've given up opportunities. We talked about this early on. You look at their last game against Vancouver.
Yes.
The Costa Rican guy, Watson, I think Paul is going to have a smile on his face. Very close to getting a hat trick in a game like that.
Hey, Costa Ricans are very dangerous in the box. Let me tell you something. No, look, one thing we love about this Fire team, I've enjoyed watching at least, is how smart they are in building. This is not a team that's going to break you down in the final third, but what they do is they keep the ball in low possession with two guys that can beat you with passes between the lines, right? Schweinsteiger and Dax McCarty. And so they keep the ball, and they pull you out, and they stretch you vertically, and then overload the central areas and allow the fullbacks to get forward. And then they can hit you with those passes, and that's been so effective. Without Dax in the mix, it changes things a little bit. I think Juninho's a little bit more of a passer who looks to keep things simple. He doesn't make the passes between the lines as much. Schweinsteiger obviously still capable of doing that. So how does the dynamic change against a team like this? You still have to be confident in possession, but know that you've got guys that are going to pressure you and run at you all game long up top. Like you said, Peterson, if he's playing very good defensively, he will press. He will pressure. Villalba can run and run and run for days, and same with Assad. So it's going to be interesting, the dynamic there. I think this is potentially a game where you really want to get David Accam on the ball going against a guy like Mears. He's older, he's a veteran, he's very smart as a player, but I like that matchup of Accam against Mears.
Yeah, and the other thing with them, Paul, and we've seen it Friday, I think they're a team that they're going to look to play out of the back. Even if you play higher up the field, you try to press them, you try to disrupt the rhythm of play. This guy, Tata Martino, wants to play out of the back, and that's the one thing. And then I think when their first phase of buildup, as they initiate the first couple passes, they get their the outside backs very high up the pitch, because similar to Chicago, they overload the central zones, which creates a lot of space for Mears and for Garza to get forward. So if your ability to press the right way as a team and force turnovers, especially when their team shape is not great, I think there'll be opportunities there, and that's where the Fire have been really dangerous in those transition moments where they can strike it with lightning pace.
And to piggyback on what you're saying, we've talked about this season before. When you lose your shape a little bit, getting your head up quickly and hitting that quick switch to the other side, you can get guys in space, and it can be very dangerous. Schweinsteiger's been very, very good at that this year. I would think that's a point of emphasis. Make sure you get your head up and look for that switch early when you win the ball, because they will get pulled out and overload.
You look at this Chicago Fire team, and last year and the year before, you'll be sitting in the stands or in the booth and say, switch the attack, and it happens so well and so quickly nowadays with this team, with Schweinsteiger and McCarty.
The one thing with them also, though, because both Parkhurst and Perez, they're both center backs that are very good with the ball. So you have to make sure that if you give them time on the ball and you don't track those wide runs of Garza and Mears, these guys have the ability to switch that 60, 70-yard ball on a dime and create themselves those overloads out wide, because they both have two fullbacks that love to get forward.